Okay, and so we'll go ahead and get started. So again, this is the Syllabus is Success workshop. This is one of our first student success workshops for this semester. So I really appreciate you guys for coming out and for wanting to know how you guys can navigate your syllabus when you guys start class. As it says at the bottom, it's your key to pass your class, and we're going to go straight into exactly why that is. So kind of to just give a brief idea of what tonight is going to look like. Um, on our agenda tonight, we're going to be looking at at our syllabuses. So you might have gotten one or something similar to one when you were in middle school, or you have gotten one when you were in high school. Uh, Either way, they are all different, but they are literally all the same thing. They give detailed information about your course and about everything that you need to know about your course and who you're taking it with. So we'll be looking into it with important detail as to what you can expect and how you can prepare for your course for the semester and for the future. So we're going to start off with what a syllabus is. We're going to go into the title and the instructor. We're going to go into the office hours, the course description, the course materials, policies, and the course schedule. All right. So first off, you're probably wondering, what is a syllabus? Kind of think about it this way. So it's one of the first things that you get on the first day of class. And you kind of look at it and you're probably wondering about your class in general, right? You're sitting down, you're handed the syllabus, and you're kind of just like, okay, what? So you're probably wondering, when does your class start and when does it end? When will your class be? Where will your class be? Who is your instructor? How many assignments are you going to have? That's a typo. I apologize for that. And how will you be graded? Guess what? Your syllabus is going to tell you all of that. That's why it's called the key. At least I call it a key. It literally tells you every single thing. And the thing about syllabuses or syllabi is that a lot of people tend to overlook them because a it's a basically sometimes like a 2 to 3 page packet where you're flipping through a bunch of words and pictures and uh, and probably most likely some like charts or diagrams of what your class is going to kind of look like. But you have to realize that that is actually very essential and is really helpful to um, keep in mind of how you read it. So we're going to go into that right now. And we're going to go into the first part, which is the title and instructor. So the example that I'm using here is actually from my university. So right here, this is from my university. So this is what my syllabus looks like. I get my syllabus within the first, I would say the first 2 days before I start class. All of my classes are online. So I go to Canvas. Yes, I go to Canvas, and usually when I go to my course, it's one of the first links that's up on the on my page for my class. So this class is for my EDSC, which is my education school counseling class, and it's 535, and it's for academic development and support. So online synchronous program, that just means that the class is online. But we're going to get into the title and the instructor. So that's the title of my class. So it's giving me an idea of like what it is. For me, the title basically is telling me that this is a class that's going to help me help support students with their academic development. So I'm going to be learning different ways to help students with making sure that they're academically achieving in school. So with the instructors, sometimes too, usually depending, your instructor will usually be around this area as well. But for me, in my case, my professors always add like another slide or page specifically to introduce themselves. So sometimes it'll kind of look like this. Um, of course, blocking out emails and phone numbers because I don't want any information like that getting out. But this is kind of an example of what your instructor is going to, of like finding out who your instructor is. So my instructor's name, and she is actually going to be one of my university supervisors starting next semester. Her name is Leanne Mertens, and so she has provided me her email address, she's provided me her phone number, and then she's also provided me her office hours, which we'll get into the next one. But one of the things about the title and instructor is that this is the first thing that you're going to notice. So what you should know is that if the class doesn't look right to you, if it looks a lot more different than what you signed up for, take that into account when we take that mental note, keep it in your brain, and then we'll get into that with when it comes to the policies. But what I have here as like a little side note is that for LBCC students, section numbers will specify which class you're in exactly. So what that means is that there are certain classes where you are like people are going to be taking the same courses, but the section numbers will tell you what days you are. So certain classes, for let's say for example in English class, they'll be meeting from Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, and they'll have a completely different section number in comparison to students that are meeting every Tuesdays and Thursday. And then another completely different section number if they happen to be taking the class online. So it's just something important to take note of when you are not only trying to look for classes, but also to just kind of clarify and to make sure and double check that this is the class that you're trying to take. So we are going to go straight into the office hours. So as I mentioned again, real quick, back here, one of the first things that you're going to see when you see your syllabus is that you're going to usually see around where your instructor and your title is. And then immediately right after that, you're going to find out where and when their office hours are. So again, like I said, this is my professor. She has provided me her email for me to email her. And then she's also provided me her phone number. And she's also provided me when exactly she is available. So because my class happens to be online, she basically tells us that her office hours are literally anytime as long as we are able to call, text, or email her. It doesn't matter what time she'll respond, usually between 2 to 3 days, depending on how busy the week is. For some professors, if you are in person, they'll tell you their office hours, which usually typically is, I would say, from like 6 to 8 sometimes, or sometimes even from like 1 to 3. It really depends, but like, like I said, like it's something really important to look at when you are looking at your instructor and you want to be able to contact them. So like I said, like there should be a section where you can meet and or contact your professor. You can email your professor to let them know that like, hey, I want to come in and I want to come and talk to you about this. Um, I need to, I need to talk to you about something. And, that's kind of one of the things that you want to keep in mind. So one of the things is what are the benefits to office hours? Well, there's a lot of things you can do. One of them is especially for our LBCC students. You guys can get a letter of recommendation from your professor. So what a letter of recommendation is that if you are planning to transfer out and you are trying to get like a scholarship for, at least at LBCC's case, if you're trying to get a scholarship for the fall or spring semester, um, it's a requirement for you to get a letter of recommendation from your teacher. Basically, your professor is vouching for you, saying that like this student is really doing well in my class. I think that they definitely deserve to to get some financial aid for their work ethic. And that's kind of like a really important thing to think about. And then also, it's not only just so you can get a letter of recommendation here at LBCC, it's also really good in general when you go, if you transfer out into a CSU or to a UC or just to any college, any state college, a letter of recommendation is is very, very important. Thank you, Sam, for linking that at the for linking that. What's my coordinator, Sam, has just linked into the chat. If you guys could go ahead and you guys can go ahead and get that checked out. Is a link to the LBCC scholarships that is available for the fall and spring semester. So go ahead and check that out when you have the time to. But like I said, letter of recommendations are not only limited to just scholarships, it's also very helpful when you're trying to get into future programs. So for example, for me, I didn't necessarily have to get a letter of recommendation, but I did have to get a few references. And I did reference a few of my professors, both from Cal State and from LBCC, before I got into my master's program. So it's something really important to talk about. And then it's also really good to know when it comes to your professors. And yes, exactly, Sam. Like the office hours are literally not only just to be talking about topics in class that you need help understanding for assignment help or feedback or just any kind of any opportunity. Just know that that's not the only reason for office hours. You're building rapport, you're building a relationship with your professor. Um, you're you're kind of like building like a relationship where you're able to network and draw bridges. That's why it's a really good idea to understand and know when your professor's office hours are. It can be a little intimidating at first because you're a student, you're a professor. It feels kind of weird. You just have to break out of that comfort zone, and your professors will understand that. They will definitely understand that. So before we move on to the next section, I just wanted to let you guys know that as LBCC students, when you are contacting your professors, please, please, please be sure to add your Viking ID number in your email when you're contacting your professor. Putting your Viking ID number is always easier to identify you by your professors, and it just makes it easier to know who's who. But of course, like, don't share your Viking ID number with just anyone. Of course, only do it when you're emailing your professor or you're emailing the school if you are asking for something. So just keep that in mind. So what we have here at the moment is just a quick example of what an email looks like. So this is actually an email between me and my professor. This is just a quick snippet of it. So I apologize if it seems very abrupt, but what I want you guys to notice is my header. So specifically, I know that I didn't put my student ID number on there. It's because my student ID number is kind of included into my my email address. So hence why, again, it's blocked off here. So I had sent an email to my professor basically asking him about a question I had about an assignment. And specifically, I was talking about our assignment number 3. And this assignment was basically just a paper on a paper and a presentation on underserved students. And so I was asking him questions about clarifying any ethnic studies topics or and kind of just, trying to ask for some help on getting some more clarification and having a better understanding of what it is that he wants exactly. So I make sure that I am doing my part right. So I wrote, good morning, Dr. B. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I just had a question regarding the 2 laws that we need to discuss for the PowerPoint presentation. I'm just double checking if I can use them. The underserved group that I chose to do my presentation on was racial and ethnic minorities, and I chose the 2 educational laws, which was Ethnic Studies Requirement AB 101 and Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. If I can't use these, is there a law that you can suggest? Thank you and have a great day. Super simple, straight to the point. I'm not adding a lot of fluff. One thing that I will mention, because later on there will be a workshop regarding text, phone, and email etiquette. Grammarly is your best friend. If you download Grammarly, it will help you. I can guarantee you, especially when it comes to doing emails like this and being the person that I am, it really helps when you are able to have something to condense your point down. And as you can see here, my professor, he actually replied almost immediately, which I remember he was always really good at. He messaged me back saying like, hi, Christiane, thank you for your email. What are your reasons why you believe you can't use them? And basically the conversation just went back and forth like that, because I did have him online. So that's kind of an example of like trying to get some clarification on an assignment. Usually it depends on how fast your professors reply back to you, but like I said, again, if you're building that rapport, it'll definitely work out in the end, and you have a resource to rely on. So we'll go into the next one, which is the course description. So one of the things that you'll see on your syllabus is the course description. This is literally going to be telling you what exactly your course is on, what it is that you're going to be learning. And that's pretty much what these are. So sometimes they're called SLOs, but for my university, we call them CLOs. They are student or course learning outcomes. So these are kind of like your expectations. These are what it's expected of you to learn by the time that you were done with your 16 weeks, or in this case, with my case, 8 weeks of school. So again, the course description is given, and it will give you an idea of what exactly that you'll be doing and learning in your course. As a side note, as LBCC students, it's important to know where your units can be transferred to. And I say that because if we go all the way up here in the beginning, it's kind of small, but it's important to know what your semester credits are. Usually your credits are about 3. You usually get about 3 credits per class. So just kind of keep that in mind when you are when you're taking your courses. That's one of the things that should be important to take note of. And then also, especially like if you're taking classes here at LBCC, you will see in the description where it says UC or CSU transferable. So that's also another really important thing to keep in mind. And we can go through it in a bit when I share my screen. So we're going to go to the next slide, which is basically your course material. So for this one, I will be exiting out my screen for a little bit so I can show you guys exactly what I mean. So course materials. Your course materials are literally your textbooks and your equipment if you have, and your goggles and your lab equipment if you happen to be doing labs. So the course materials, as we can see here, they are things that you are going to need in your course. But sometimes sometimes professors will say that this is a required item, like this is a required textbook, but this one is a recommended textbook. So for example, say that you are taking a psychology course. One of the books that is recommended by every professor that you will come across, and even so on and so forth when you go into, if you happen to go into any field regarding psychology, one of the recommended books is pretty much like the APA formatting book. There is another recommended book, I believe, but the APA publication manual is probably one of the most popular recommended books that professors will always try to recommend to their students. Just because, just because I've had it like probably for a semester and then realized I could just honestly go on OWL. But then again, like it says here on the description, it is a recommended text. It's not required. I don't need to buy it. I don't need to rent it. I could get it if I want to because it most likely is a source of material that will help me in this class. But there's a difference with required text. Required text and materials, they are things that you need. So for example, for this one, I needed the book, the textbook, The School Counselor's Guide to Multi-Tiered Systems of Support. So this was a necessary textbook that I needed in order to get through class. One of the things that you guys can do, and it's something that I do with my cohort a lot, is that one of my classmates will have the book and we'll just take pictures of the book and we can basically send it to each other and get the pages that we need for a certain assignment, and it makes it a little bit more cost efficient. But like I said, sometimes materials aren't always textbooks. Sometimes it could be equipment or software or literally anything. So it really just depends on what course you're taking. So say, for example, if you're taking a computer science class and you read the description, you look at the course materials, and it says that you need a Windows program. Your laptop isn't really compatible with it because you got a Mac. So guess what? We're gonna go over to here to the laptop request. I'm gonna show it to you guys real quick on what that looks like. Okay. Let me actually just stop sharing real quick. Let me change over to this one. There we go. All right. Real quick, can everyone see my screen? Okay, awesome. So real quick, what we're gonna do here is that we're not gonna go here. We're gonna just actually type in lbcc.edu/earlycollege. And then we'll hopefully let it load. Oh no, why? Give me 1 second, actually. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna go up here to you're gonna go to your search bar and you're gonna type in lbcc.edu/earlycollege, and then you're gonna scroll down and you're going to go to this box right here, which is the dual enrollment courses and resources. So like I mentioned before, it's going to take you to this this kind of canvas looking page, and it's specifically for early college. So you're gonna scroll down and you're going to go to the textbook loan program. So you're going to click on the textbook loan program and it's going to give you this form. The textbook loan program is if you need any textbooks and you are not able to, if you cannot afford to pay or rent for your textbook, you can fill this form out. And for dual enrollment students, we can go ahead and we can try to find that textbook for you, and we'll loan it to you. So that's one way of being able to be kind of cost efficient with your textbooks. And then also, like I said before, say you're taking a computer science course and you need like Windows 7 and you literally have a MacBook, you can request for a laptop. So again, like it's not only just for if you have you need it for a class, it's if you need internet in general in order to do your classes. So you would go ahead and you would start and you would just fill out this whole form and you would submit your request, and then we would process it and try to see if we have anything that's available for you. So that is pretty much how you are able to um that is how you will be able to get through your classes. So let me just, okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. So again, when I send you guys the email again, like, don't worry about it. We will be able to, I will be able to, I'll be able to do it step by step with you guys again. If you guys have questions, feel free to email, not email, but to send them to me, and then we can discuss them after, if that's okay. Just so we can have like a quick discussion about it we all before we all go, so we can have a better understanding about it. So I'll get to your guys' questions at the end of the presentation. So really quick thing about our really quick thing when it comes to your important messages and to your announcements, you will rely on Canvas. Canvas is going to be your number one outlet for getting any information from your professors. So one of the things that you guys should know is that you guys will have signed up for your class and you'll have all your updated contact information. I will also be sending you guys a link as to how to change that if you guys are not able to receive any information. So I will actually look for that real quick so I can show you guys what I mean. Basically what it is that it's a step-by-step tutorial on how you will be able to change your email and your phone number if you guys are not receiving any updates or information. So that's just something to keep in mind. I will be sending you guys that link in the email. But yeah, Canvas is literally going to be your best friend. And then also checking your emails is one of the best healthy habits for a student to do. I check my emails literally on a daily just because that's both work and with school. So it doesn't hurt to look. You never know what it is that you're going to get an email from. And hey, sometimes you might get your email from your professor that you've emailed like 5 days ago, and they'll finally have an answer for you. Okay. So important messages are just really important too. Just in case, say, for example, your professor is running late to class and they're on the road, they really have no other way of contacting you guys just other than just using the announcements for Canvas. So it's really important that you also keep your notifications on, just so you guys are able to get those updates like super quick. I had a situation one time where my professor did not message anyone until the end of class. And this was the first day of school, and we were waiting outside for like the whole class period, waiting for this teacher to come, and he was not able to really message any of us on Canvas until he got home. But just like I wanted to show you guys what it looks like. But honestly, like, it's just a really, really good tool for you guys to use, and it's a really good habit for you guys to be learning, especially if you tend to be on your phone a lot. We're gonna go to the next one. And this one is going to be very important. So remember how earlier I said that you had to look at your title and you realize that this is not the class that you thought you were talking about. This is not the class that you actually signed up for. Guess what? Let's look into the policies. Let's look into the dates. Policies are really important for a number of reasons. One of them is definitely is for grading. It kind of depends if a professor is going to use a point system or if they're going to use a percentage system. If we look over here, to be very honest, my professor used like a combination of both. Used a combination of just like kind of like points, or as they say, hours, and they kind of just convert it to a percentage. So it's important to kind of look at the policies and see what the grading policy is. Like, for example, what is their policy on missing assignments or late work? Basically kind of them explaining if they take late work, you get like half of the credit, or if you turn it in late after a certain point, you get no credit. Again, it's kind of something that you should try to do, try to discuss with your professor during office hours. Another thing is that what professors will do too, in LBCC, they will tell you, they will show you, and they will highlight it for you, where when the drop class deadline is. That is very important. Just so you don't get a withdrawal on your transcript. Dropping classes is as easy if you do it within the time frame that you need to do it in. So that's something that you need to keep in mind of when you are looking at your syllabus, and kind of just, keeping an eye out for it, kind of giving yourself a little bit more leeway to see like how well you're doing in the class so far before you finally decide to drop it. So professors will also have policies on their attendance and their participation. If you are a college student, you will know that attendance is part of your grade. Attendance will be a part of your grade depending on your professor, and it depends on your professor on what they see as participation. So for example, for me, I only meet with my class once every other month. So I meet on the odd weeks of my semester. So I have 8 weeks of school, and I meet on the odd days of the week. So I meet on the first week of school, the third week of school, the fourth week of school, and the seventh week of school. I am meant to go to class and at least log in. If I'm going to be late or if I'm going to miss class, I am responsible for emailing my teacher or texting my teacher and making sure that they get that email. Also, this is also kind of for you guys to also be making friends with your classmates, because your classmates can probably cover for you as to what it is that you probably have missed out, and kind of like helping you out with making sure that your communication goes through. So I actually had that kind of happen to me one time where I was emailing my professor, and apparently my professor was about to mark me absent. I had messaged my cohort through our Discord group chat, and one of them had basically told my professor to check her email for my absence. She saw that I had emailed her 2 hours prior to class, and she basically okayed it. So it's really good to also have friends in your class that will help you out to make sure that you get the credit and to get the attendance that you deserve and need. Also expectations. There are expectational policies that your professors will put on, but one of the most important ones is definitely plagiarism. Anyone knows that if you are caught plagiarizing any type of work, you will most likely get a 0, and you will be sent to the deans, and you will be most likely put on academic probation. It depends wherever you go, but there is always a big emphasis on plagiarism in the policies of syllabus, in any syllabus. And it's kind of overlooked because oh, I would never do that. Like, that's something that like I was like, why would I want to plagiarize something like that? Like, why would I do that? Well, because guess what? Your professors will let you know if they are using a program like Turnitin.com, where if you happen to be quoting every single thing from your textbook into an essay, it's going to flag that. So that's something to kind of just keep in mind. And to kind of like tell your professor, like, hey, I just have been really quoting a lot of these quotes in the textbook. Like, that's the only reason why I have so many flags on my essay. So Make sure you guys read the policies. It's really, really important that you guys do, so you guys know when to be kept in the loop. Right? So we're gonna go into the class schedule, and this is kind of an idea of like what my coursework looks like. So in week 2 over here, we are given the topics or topic that we are going to be discussing this for that week. And during that week, this is going to be talking about a tier 1 support for all students. That's the subject. That is the topic that we will be talking about throughout the whole week and what our assignments will be about for the whole week. In week 3, we have the tier 2 and tier 3 support, and then we also have a universal screening. So the topic for this, that's what it's going to be for the week. So we're gonna go, I'm skipping over this just because I want to respect everyone's time. So for the readings and videos, this is what your required where your required texts come from, where your required materials come from. Usually over here, it will be told by your professor on what chapters that you are going to be reading and what exactly you're reading up to. And then also, if you guys remember earlier when I was talking about student expectations or learning outcomes, you see it here in the areas where where it talks about the reading material and in the exploration material. That means that when you read this section or when you read this chapter, you are actively doing your learning outcome. You are it's adding onto your the expectation that you have for yourself by the end of the course. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're looking at that. And then finally, I wanted to look at this. So there's 2 things. So like I mentioned before, with my course, I meet on the odd days of the week. So if we look over here, that is the reason why for week 3, this is my second live session and my virtual meeting. My professor kind of gave it like an agenda of what it looks like, of what the Zoom meeting is going to look like, what our class time is going to look like. So that's just something to keep in mind when you if you guys ever happen to have any Zoom classes, or if your professor also happens to set up an agenda in your announcements before your class starts. And then over here, we have my assignments. So every Thursday, I have a discussion post that is due. And every Sunday, I have 2 responses that I need to do. So for Thursday at 11:59 p.m., I have to post on a discussion board. And after that, on Sunday, I have to respond to 2 of my classmates' discussion board posts. So that is what it is for my class. That is what I need to do for my discussion board. For my weekly assignments, this is the week that it is due. It's going to be due. It was due on Sunday, and basically it was about a case. It was a case study that I needed to do an essay on. So their course schedule will vary. The format is pretty much the same. You're going to be given the topics. You're going to be giving what learning outcomes you're going to have. You're going to be given what chapters that you need to read or that you need to look up. And then you will also be given your assignments, and you will also be given the time, when, and where you are meeting your class. So I wanted to say thank you guys so much for coming out to the first student success workshop. I really hope that this helped you guys out a little. So what we have right now, right here, is the feedback survey. So again, at the end of the presentation, I will be emailing you guys your guys' copy of the presentation, any additional resources that I mentioned to you guys about, and all that good stuff. Over here is the feedback survey. I would love it if you guys can go ahead and take that, so I know what I can improve on or what I can add on to for our future workshops. And then also over here, we have our LBCC ECI IG page. So if you have Instagram, go ahead and follow us. That is how you guys are going to be able to get to kind of get that quick link into Zoom when we start our workshops, and then also just to get a lot of the updates and information about everything. Again, if you guys have questions, you can definitely contact us at our Instagram, which is LBCC ECI. And then also you can email us at earlycollege@lbcc.edu.